Good evening. We are here to answer your questions. Aren't you excited? The moment you've all been waiting for. Our first Q&A. We've been at this 2 years now.
Yep.
And our original intention was to do this for our 2-year anniversary, which was at the end of June. And just for various reasons, busyness and such, we did not get it done. So we're here to do it now.
Thanks for everyone who wrote in some questions in the comments and sent some stuff over email.
Yep.
We got some good questions.
Yeah, some really good questions. So we're excited to answer them. These are in no particular order. I'm just going to go through and read off a question, and we're going to hopefully answer it to the best of our abilities. If this question and answer session creates more questions in your mind, please leave them below in the comments, and we will try to either answer them throughout videos or do another Q&A in a couple of months. We'd like to do a couple of year just to be able to answer questions you guys have about what's going on around here, because I'm not sure we're always thorough in our videos.
We are.
So
We skip a lot of steps, and there's a lot of questions that are remaining, and but we're here to answer them. Let's
sometimes
do it.
we have questions we're not sure how to answer, so
I have some questions for you.
You do? No. Okay. All right, so the first question that we got was how soon we will start our main house. Back to you.
Oh my gosh. You know what? If you'd asked me a year ago, I'd say probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And we're not really even close. We've got so much to do still on the cabin, and that was supposed to be a 2 or 3 month project.
Mm-hmm.
That's stretched into 7 months now.
Yep.
And
it's not done.
And it's not done. If you haven't built a house, you should know something. It's hard. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of steps to follow.
And more steps than you think. Like you think in your mind all the steps, like, oh yeah, there's like these things and that should be easy. And then there's like so many more layers to it. Even when you're building simply and off grid.
In a small house.
It's still a lot
of steps. So the house we're looking at building is probably about 4 times the square footage of the cabin that we put together.
Yep.
And we haven't started. We have a site. It's just a little ways from where we're sitting right now.
Actually, right kind of behind us.
Just behind us here. The first step is to get it tested for septic approval, and that's kind of a big scary thing because our soil here is not great. But my plan is in about 3 or 4 weeks to start digging for the septic test. So that's kind of an official start
of the new house, but
probably not really starting till midwinter or spring.
Realistically, because we are milling all of our own wood, and because we are digging the foundation and laying every part of it is us. Sometimes I cry when I think about it, because when we got here a year ago, we thought a year we would have our house at least mostly done. And
we were wrong.
Yeah. So right now, I'd like to optimistically say 2 more years.
Till we start or till we finish?
Well, till we finish.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. You have my word on it. I'll sign on the dotted line.
Next question. I guess in relation to that question is another question that was asked, which is, when do we plan to have a house to sleep in, and how about to move in completely? And again, yes, there is probably earlier timeline that we'll be able to actually like sleep in the house and be in it.
Yeah.
Again, not knowing.
Couple years.
It's still probably going to be a couple years till we can even sleep in it, and then to finish it. I'm hoping maybe optimistically 18 months we could be sleeping in it, and then another 6 to 8 months after that it might be finished. I don't know. That's just
hard to say.
Us guessing. So, and next part of that question is, do we think we'll keep our RVs after we're done? And I guess
no.
That's a no. RVs are not meant to be lived in, and so it's really falling apart. Like Megan and Josiah's is on its way out probably in the next 3 weeks. Like we're gonna tear it apart, throw it out, and be done with it. Open up the barn space, and we'll show you guys all that as it comes together. But our camper, I think, originally I thought we would keep it, but it's going to be trashed. Even the refrigerator barely works some days.
It is not built to be lived in full time.
No. And the oven doesn't work all the time.
A lot of stuff is broken.
So
it's just not not going to be worth keeping.
Next question. I think you guys have all seen us on our Sabbaths playing board games and hanging out, resting. You've seen us play board games when we were in Oklahoma, when we traveled. So our viewer asks, how often do we play board games and what is our favorite? And so
we play lots of games, not all
Yeah.
board games, but you know,
Card
kids. We have a lot of
games
card
and-
games. We have a game called Unstable Unicorns. We play that a couple times a week.
the kids really love that
There's a
one.
follow-on called Llamas Unleashed that we play a couple times a week. A lot of times I'll come in at lunch, eat my lunch, and sit down for 20 or 30 minutes, play a quick game, and then get back out. So that's fun.
So we definitely play them on Saturdays when we
Yeah.
have our Sabbath. Play 2 or 3 games sometimes
Yeah.
a day, depending, different people, not always everyone playing the games.
Whoever's
Whoever
available,
wants
and
to.
if I'm napping,
Yeah.
or it's a game I don't like, I pretend to be napping, and then I don't play. But
As far as my
what's
favorite,
your favorite?
it's really hard because I like so many games. I really enjoy. Gosh, I've really been thinking about this actually and trying to decide.
The hardest question in the list.
I really think it is the hard. I mean, obviously, when is your house going to be done? That's a super hard question. But this is hard because I really enjoy a lot of the games we play, but I don't always enjoy all of them. Like some days I'll say, no, I don't feel like playing that. I would have to say I really enjoy Dominion, and we have several expansions of the game Dominion.
That is fun.
It's a fun game. And then I really enjoy Scythe. I think I've never won it. I've never even come close to winning it.
We don't win any games because Josiah or Micah.
Josiah dominates the more,
more
challenging
complex
games.
games.
But Micah dominates those card games.
man.
He wins every time.
He's probably wins 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. My favorite game we play right now is called Dice Forge. And if you haven't played it, it's super fun. The idea is you buy new sides for your dice, so you build your dice, and then as you roll, you get different gems and things. But as you go through the game, you build up your dice instead of building up a deck. It's called Dice Forge. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Next question is, how well do the solar panels provide energy? What percentage of the energy needs do they meet? Our energy needs are not great. We have a system that we put together. It's been a year since we got it put together. And I'd say right now in the summertime, it meets 100% of our energy needs. We have very long days, we have a very bright sun and not a cloud in the sky and no rain. And so right now it's great, works great. We haven't run the generator in weeks. We did have a little problem that we had to fix, but since that time, it's been working great. In the winter time, not so much.
Yeah.
Probably we run the generator 2 hours a day.
At least.
At
Maybe 2 hours
least.
in the morning and 2 hours at night sometimes, like on
Yeah.
the worst days.
But at the same time, things like our freezer barely run, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit of a trade.
Yeah, because the freezer runs a lot in the summer. That's the biggest draw probably in the summer,
biggest
right?
draw in the summer. The biggest draw right now is probably the freezer plus the well. So we have
Yeah.
a electrically powered well. It's 240 feet, and it takes a lot of power. But right now,
More than we thought probably,
it's
right?
really pretty good. So we've been doing an experiment where we're actually running our sprinklers for about an hour a day. So that well runs at 3 amps for an hour a day. That's not bad. If you're thinking about getting solar, just do the math. I was really nervous about the math and all the kilowatts and it's not hard. I mean, it's just multiplication. It's not that complicated. So just do the math and figure out and size it appropriately. But yeah, right now it's keeping up.
It's keeping up
Keeping
pretty
up
good,
really
I'd
good.
say. Yeah, in the winter, it runs all of the things, but we do run the generator. The generator runs off propane,
Right.
right? And our camper heaters run off propane right now. You guys may have seen us put in wood stoves over the winter, and because our barn is not insulated, it doesn't really hold heat, so we don't really use the wood stove to actually heat us. We just use our camper propane heaters. Let's see. Have we
Biggest
found other families to spend time with, or have we been too busy working on the homestead? Well,
It's weird. We have found a lot of
Yeah.
friendly people and a lot of families. We've had I don't know how many guests out here.
Quite a
Maybe
few.
15 people total.
Some of them are just adults, like
Yeah.
our friends, without kids. We've had several families over with
Yeah,
children.
with children, and so it's been fine. We know our neighbors; they come over sometimes. You know, we meet people at the farmers market. Who
Oh yeah,
we've
that's super fun. It's
made good friendships with.
kind of like the community meetup where
It
everyone's
is.
catching up on everyone's week and everything. But we also, I've taken the kids a few times this last year to a homeschool group in town, so that's been really nice to get to know some other homeschooling families. We don't go all the time because through the winter it was hard. Just sometimes the road is not good and I don't want to travel it. So, but we've tried to keep up with that and to make friends that way. And we've had a few play dates at the park. And so, you know, we're working on it. It is hard because we do want to stay on the property as much as possible because it's a long drive into town and it takes a lot of gas and a lot of time away from projects. Hi, dog.
This dog is not helping.
But we do try to help out friends when they need it. We've gone and helped with gardening at other people's houses.
Small
and,
projects. And
Yep.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been good. That was one of the things that drew us here whenever we drove through on our travel year was we came through here just to look at properties, and we did go to a farmer's market that summer, and everyone was so friendly. Who are you? What are you doing here? But tell us why you're here and why you're traveling through. And everyone wanted to talk to us, and we thought that was really neat because that was something that we want out of the place we live. We want a community of people. We want to be able to share and barter and trade, and this really fit the bill. So that was really nice that we've been able to do that. Our next question is, what have been some of the surprises in this part of your journey, both good and bad?
I think one of the good surprises is just how cool everyone is here. People here are so nice. I mean, every store you'd stop at, people are willing to just talk to you, and every person you meet, they're really, really friendly. They want to know about your story, and oh, we should come up there. And oh, I know those people, and it's a small community.
It is a small community.
So,
everyone knows where we live. They say, when I say the road we live on, they say, oh, did you buy so-and-so's place? And I'll say no, and they say, "Oh, it must be
it's
so-and-so's,"
the
and I'm
next
like,
place,
"Yeah,
yeah.
it is." You know,
And
everyone knows.
They know, and we're not close. I mean, we're pretty
far out.
And people still know. Yeah, I used to know that guy.
Yeah, or I lived up on the other side where it's very funny.
But that was a surprise to me. I thought it would be a little hard to kind of incorporate ourselves into the environment,
the local environment, right?
No, not at all.
But
what about you? Good things.
Good surprises. I guess how quickly the kids adapted to just barefoot country living. Like,
oh my gosh,
they tromp around this place barefoot, and now, they're filthy all the time, but they love it, and they play games, and I thought they would have a harder transition from suburban life to here, but they absolutely love it.
We have some video games we play, mostly on Sabbath, but they don't ask to play video games.
No.
We watch some videos at times, but they don't ask to watch the videos. They're outside a ton.
They're outside, and I love that.
It's like a badge of honor for them to run around barefoot and not complain.
Yeah.
Like, if you can tell they step on a stick or something, and they just suck it up because they're all trying to be tough,
Right, they're all trying to be tough. I think also, I don't know that it was a surprise. I've wanted to do this homestead, hobby farm type thing where I had animals. I wanted a milk cow for a long time. I wanted goats for a long time. And so I don't know that it was a surprise that I would enjoy it or love them, but I was definitely worried about my capacity to actually do the work. And I think I was really surprised when we got here and I was able to do it, and that I was enjoying it. And it wasn't just, chores or drudgery. I don't know.
You look forward to being with your animals.
Yeah, and I really love my animals. Like, I didn't know that you could love a cow, but I totally love my cow. Like, everybody else, ew, the cow got me wet, slobbered on me, and I just let her lick my arm.
That is gross.
Like, she exfoliates me.
That's foul.
And I just let her kiss me. She's so sweet.
Her tongue is this big.
And it's like sandpaper.
It's sandpaper. It's terrible. She'll get your shirt, and you're like, "Give me your shirt back."
But I love it. So.
Well, I'll tell you something that might surprise you. I was surprised how much I like the animals. They're always into something, and I get mad, and whatever. But I do like them. I do like them.
That is a surprise because I didn't think you would.
We got all these chickens. I'm literally trying to drive the tractor, and the chickens are just getting under my tires. But still, I just kind of laugh, and it's fun. I like them.
Good.
Now, yesterday I got in a fight with a cow,
Yeah.
like a fist fight with a cow. And we didn't like each other, but we made up this morning. It was fun. She did not kiss me.
Cows are stubborn.
What
And
about bad things? Well, can I tell you
Yeah.
something bad?
Go ahead.
We knew when we came out here it was going to be hard work. And we knew that we would be like worn out, okay, physically worn out. But I'm surprised at how often we are just emotionally
Drained.
just drained, just spent,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm a pretty up guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had a lot of downtimes, you know,
Yeah.
here, and it never lasts long. It's always kind of a, you know, feeling sorry for myself for a little bit and move on. But when you look around and you have one of those days where like everything you see is broken, it's got to be fixed, and it's got to be
Or
fixed.
the animals are out
Animals
of their
are out.
cage
They're
again.
out now.
They're out right now over here.
And your dog is digging in your garden.
Hey!
The dog is dead. No, he's fine. But honestly, like, if you're thinking about this type of lifestyle, you can be prepared to be really exhausted physically, but what you
But
need to
also
do
emotionally.
is you need to be ready to push through when you're not doing what you wanted to do for the day because something is broken.
Like the battery just ran out on our camera. So there's that. So I think one of the things, I think definitely being more emotionally exhausted than I thought I would. I expected the physical exhaustion, but I didn't expect the emotional or mental exhaustion of the decisions that have to be made and the time crunches and the things that go wrong that inevitably do. It's different than in the suburbs when something, you know, you have to get a water pipe fixed or, you know, it's just different.
It's different. Here.
And there are animals depending on you for things like food and water and things. And so there's more drain on like your emotion and your mental capacity, I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing that was most surprising that I consider bad is the weather. We got here and it rained for like 3 straight months. And then...
Which was bad.
Which was bad. Because it was a muddy mess and we didn't know how we were going to grow. So then we had some summer, and then we went into fall and winter, and it was wet and just raining all the time. And we thought, well, I expected snow in the winter.
Yeah.
I expected a short summer, but I expected a mild summer. Now it's an anomaly, everyone says. It happens every once in a while, but we haven't had rain. We had a big rainstorm maybe 2 weeks ago. Yep, about 2 weeks ago, because that's when I said we were going to shoot this, and it was barely a storm. We got a little bit of rain. And before that, it was like June 10th, I think.
It's just been bone dry.
And in the hundreds and 90s, like crazy, and no rain. And so the weather has been surprising, I guess, because in Colorado, I feel like while the mantra is always, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes, I felt I knew what to expect. And maybe it's because I had lived there my whole life, so I just understood it.
Yeah.
But the immense amount of wet that we have here, and then going from that to this incredible dry has been weird.
That's been weird. And we weren't prepared for it. We're buying a lot of hay to keep our animals
A lot of
fed.
ice.
I mean, here we are, 26 acres. You don't have that many grazing animals, and we're buying hay.
We're buying hay
So
for the summer,
For the
not
summer.
even just for the winter.
And so that's frustrating and expensive. And so that's one of the negative surprises as well, is stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
Stuff is expensive. And you kind of know it going in, and you're like, there's going to be some huge, big ticket items. No,
Like a well, like a tractor.
It's
No.
these little things that just add up. You
Yep.
know, right now a ton of hay is like $245. Like, wow, okay, we need 8 of those.
And we need at least 8 to 10 to get us through. And this was through the winter.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to feed it in the summer. So it's like
Even worse.
even worse.
So,
Yeah.
That's
Surprising.
negative.
Yeah.
Surprising, yeah. But life's full of surprises. I mean, it's any lifestyle, you're going to have some surprises. It's just out here when you're surprised, you're kind of,
Stuck
it's just
sometimes.
up to you to get it figured out.
All right. So where do you come up with your ideas for your building structures?
Oh, yeah. Well, it depends what structure. Like let's see, what have we've built all these little lean-tos and stuff like that. That's just
just in
you
our
know,
head. You
I
just draw it up
on a
and-
piece of paper and just build it. The pole barn, every pole barn is the same. I mean, pole, girt, trusses, roof, done. So that's nothing. The timber frame, that came out of a book called Learn How to Timber Frame.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't know anything, like this is a chisel, that's the book we bought. That book had this plan in it for a 12 by 16 cabin. That's the building we built. We also went on a website. It's called the Timber Frame Headquarters, and you can buy for a couple $100, like I don't know, 30 or 40 plans, like full plans with piece drawings and everything for timber frames. So I bought that, and I just go through those and look at what we might want to build for our house.
Yeah. So we're going to try to pick and choose and kind of make some design choices based on that, decide if we want like a certain whole design or if there's things we can make work, because they've done the work for you as far as the math and things. But if we can, see elements that we want and try to create that, that's kind of what we're working on before we really quote unquote break ground or start milling for our project. But have you decided yet if you're glad you have made this transition?
Okay, on the count of 3, say yes or no. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
No, we haven't decided yet. Oh, have you decided yet?
I think I've decided that I'm glad we made this transition.
No, I am too.
Does that mean that it will last forever and we won't make another decision in a few years? No, it doesn't. It means I'm glad we made the transition.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad we did what we did.
Me too.
We have learned a lot. We're still learning a lot. I am thankful to be where we're at right now.
We're together every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
I'm so
And
thankful that he's out of
great.
his corporate job,
Yeah.
That's just, it's so nice to be together all the time. So whether we end up continuing in this lifestyle 10, 20, 30 years down the road, I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's, everyone makes those decisions as they go. Just
Sure.
because you have your job doesn't mean you're going to keep it for more than another few years, or, another opportunity comes up. So, but I'm glad we made the transition.
Me too. I think a homestead is like a small business, and most of them fail.
Yeah.
And
it's
most of the time
okay.
people go out and they say, they think it's going to be brilliant. There's a deer up there. They think it's going to
Cool.
be brilliant and easy and fun, and you're going to hear music playing when you wake up in the morning. And no, I mean, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard work. But
And-
sometimes you sit out there in the evening and everyone's in bed and you're just looking out and you're just seeing like deer crossing the property, or you're watching your animals just graze. And it's just kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's just kind of nice.
And you see the buildings you built and your animals that you take care of and the land around you. And I just think, it makes it worth it at the end of the day. And again, does it mean we'll do this forever? Maybe not. But it means that it was a good decision to do what we did, to come here. I think I've already made that decision, that it was a good idea to do this, to come here and to make the transition we did. I also think, in case anyone was wondering, no one really asked this, but it's something that I have thought about many a times, is we could have gone and looked at some properties. I mean, we basically found this one first.
Yeah.
We really came here first, and then we did some other traveling and came back. But am I glad we traveled first? And the answer to that is yes. Because the traveling part broke us away from our suburban life.
Yeah.
Because if any of you who know us personally remember, we did try to go to the country near the suburbs where we lived, where his job was. We were only like 25 minutes away, and we tried to live the country life there.
While working.
While working in the city, shopping in the city, doing everything in the city. I tried to keep my old life, but live in the country.
No good.
It was no good. Number one, the community was not the same as this small community, as far as just everyone there worked in the city and traveled that 25 minutes to get to their country home.
Yeah.
And what I realized in doing our traveling, the year that we traveled, was I broke away from my suburban life. I kind of left it all behind so that I could have a mindset of restarting fresh. And I think it would have been much, much harder to just have been sitting in Colorado and saying, let's move to Idaho, and then just picking up and moving to Idaho. That would have been a different... I'm not saying it wouldn't have worked. I just think personally, I like that we traveled first.
Me too. I like that we traveled first. For one, once we're in this lifestyle, it's very hard to travel.
Yeah.
But secondly, it did. It gave us huge break in life and lifestyle, where it was just nothing we knew came with us, and everything we did was new.
Yeah.
So that was exciting.
It was a mental shift, I think, which was nice. So nobody really asked that, but it's something I do think about, and I have thought about. So the next question is, who is your favorite coworker of all time?
You know who you are.
So that is the extent of those. Do you have any other questions?
What about the money?
Haha.
Yeah, money's a problem. The root of all evil? No, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Right.
Okay, so we left Colorado with a lot of money.
Yep.
We had sold all our houses. We had some rentals. We had a cabin, and we basically liquidated. Because we were debt-free at the time, we were ready to start a new life debt-free. We bought the land with cash. Few people do that. We financed everything, all our travel with cash. We financed the whole last 15, 16 months on the property with cash. But
that only goes so far.
It's going to last forever. And we're seeing the end of it. We are looking at how much it's going to cost to put together an actual house and how much we spend here as a family in a year. And
just living expenses, food and, clothes, and, the kids wear out about a pair of boots a month.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which is why they have to now go barefoot in the summer.
That's why our kids are barefoot. We can't afford shoes.
Just kidding.
Not true. We own shoes. They don't know where they are.
They don't know where they are. But
the money's not going to last forever. So we are looking at options, and we do raise a little money, at farmers markets and things like that. We've sold some animals. They've basically paid for their own feed.
Their own feed. Mm-hmm.
And that's
You've
good.
done a few jobs for people.
A couple of side jobs, yeah.
You mill wood is kind of an exchange program.
It's fun to barter, yeah. We have people who bring logs, and then we cut them, and we get logs, and then they get lumber, and so that's going to go on.
I think forever, probably. That's how people seem to work around here.
Yeah.
I'll give you some logs, and you cut some for me.
Yeah.
You give like half of them
that
back.
That works great because we haven't really paid for logs.
For logs, yeah.
And so,
but we do have expenses.
We're coming up with some ideas of things we can sell online. Make some things, and we've made a little bit of money doing that. Nothing that's going to sustain us unless we really step it up.
Right.
But I guess the question comes down to why don't you go to work? Well, I don't have to for now.
But that will come. I mean, if he has to, especially now with everyone working from home, probably he could get a freelance, computer tech job, something, and do it from home. It's not ideal, but at least he'd still be here.
Yeah.
And again, doing those handyman type jobs that he did, when he built the gazebo and things like that.
Yeah,
he can do that.
There's a big demand for that. You don't have to be a genius to do it. I mean, stuff like that.
People want that kind of thing.
People want that type of thing. And I actually do get asked very often about doing work. We got asked this morning about doing some work and just earning a wage and
those are things that we'll do.
It's great. They're friends and people that it's definitely something we can do to earn a little bit more money. So we have options, but we don't know what we're going to do.
Any job that he does, whether it's computer tech job or leaving property to go do handyman work or whatever, takes away from our projects.
Right.
Now we need the money to do our projects, but we also need him here to help do the projects. And so that's kind of a conundrum that we've been running into. Now, when we left on our journey, we started this YouTube channel in hopes that it would, number one, be a way for us to keep in touch with our friends and family and just let them know what we were doing while we traveled and when we found our homestead. But partly we were looking ahead to establishing the homestead and saying that, homesteading is really big in the YouTube community right now. And maybe this would be a source of income for us, on top of the fact that we knew eventually you'd have to get jobs and, we sell things at farmers markets. As we establish more gardens, we hope to sell more produce as we have more animals born, etc. But YouTube was one of the hopefully income streams that we plan to utilize over the next few years on our homestead.
You have to get pretty big before you can make any money on it, but I mean
you have to start somewhere, right?
There are people who run their entire income through YouTube, so it's definitely doable.
It might be out there for us someday.
If you're as attractive and entertaining as we are. Okay, we got a question from a viewer. on the new home, which I love by the way, how do you seal it up without taking away from the beauty of the architecture? Example, do you put battens on the outside to close up the gaps and how do you insulate? That's a great question. A timber frame is not built the same as most houses. In most houses you have the frame which holds the insulation and you put sheathing on the outside and you put drywall on the inside. But you don't see the framing. In the timber frame, you're going to see all the framing. So the way that works is you build from the inside out. So it will go in this order. Big old beautiful timbers, then some boards that form the interior wall, then some insulation, foam insulation, and then a little air gap, and then the exterior siding. So yes, from the inside you're going to see all the framing, and that's kind of the point. So I hope that answers the question.
And on the outside, what you see, what you walk up the hill, and I've showed you video of that, that's actually the
Inside
interior walls. The back side of the interior walls, and that will have insulation and then siding on it. So that's actually not the siding.
Yeah,
I think that's confusing when people see it and it's
Yeah,
wood.
it's wood.
They think it's done.
Well,
but
when you
it's
go
not.
inside and you see light through all the cracks,
Right.
it's like, are you gonna
fix
close that
Yeah.
up some way? Yeah, we are. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll have siding.
Thank you for your concern. One of the most frequent questions we've gotten asked in the last 2 years is, how can we support you? And we've had some people have sent us gifts and things like that, and that's always fun, but there hasn't been really a way to do it. We haven't really needed it. We've never really asked for it.
Yep.
But we have recently decided, hey, a lot of people want to get behind us.
Yeah.
And so in order to give them an opportunity to do that, we've set up a Patreon account. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a third-party website that lets viewers contribute to YouTube creators and people like us. And if you're interested in doing that, it's patreon.com/deeprootsfamily, where you can sign up at multiple different levels to support us continuing to make videos for the channel. There's a few things that you get for it, like, we can send you a couple little pieces of swag. I'm not going to tell you what they are because they go on there
Kind
and
of
it's
exciting.
pretty, very cool. I'll show you maybe a little bit of that later. There's additional content on there that you don't see on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
We're still going to produce the channel as we always have,
Yep.
but we're going to give a few little bonus things on the Patreon channel. And then, what else? Access to a private Facebook page. And
Yeah.
you got to go on.
You got to go
So there'll
check
be
it
a
out.
link in the description, patreon.com/deeprootsfamily. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support.
If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when we make new videos. And
That's it. We'll see you
that's
next
it. We'll see you
week.
next week.
This is real life, baby. Look. You see? That's the sound you've been hearing, a disobedient cow.
We're out of grass.
We're out of grass. There's a little bit there.
Right there, it's because that's where the hose sits and there's
There's a
the
leak.
connection and there's a leak, so that's green. That's why they come up here.